Couldn't hear it.
They said he was having like nightmares at night with shit that
After
like,
that hit?
for the last few fights in the UFC. Like there's some kind of mental thing going on. He was like shuffling his family out of the house, like they're coming to get us, getting real paranoid and stuff like that. And that's what a lot of people are shaming. You could say shaming the UFC for allowing him to continue fighting when he's got like notable issues with his brain.
Right.
And he just keeps showing up like, cool. Like, bro, you are fucking jacked
are
up. Yeah,
cool,
you
yeah.
are messed up. That's a problem. And then again, that Diaz fight, like Nate was literally chilling on the sidelines. It was like the least anything he had to put into a fight. And so, I don't know. If you can imagine him going against anybody else in the same division as Nick, which let's go ahead and remind ourselves, freaking Hajmat is in the same division. Can you imagine him fighting Tony? Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
No. Poirier, like, there's just no way.
Poirier's real good. Fight Poirier.
Well, him and Chandler in November is going to be a good fight. They're starting to build the hype for it now.
What do you guys think about, after these pro people finish?
So that new stuff that's going on?
I think it's silly.
So it's like Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul.
I understand where they're coming from, right? Like, there's money involved.
It's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money, more than they've probably made in their entire UFC career. But it's like, at the same time, the way you left your career, like from a legacy standpoint, is you left here, like, man, the UFC,
Pinnacle, yeah.
and now you're fighting Jake Paul.
Like,
That's the last thing you did is more than likely what you're going to be remembered for, right?
correct.
He was the greatest of all time, right? Like, he had the most belt title fights.
I don't remember what the stats were, but he's definitely got a lot of GOAT material going on.
Now you're fighting a YouTuber.
Yeah,
Money
money.
talks.
Yeah.
Money
I mean,
talks.
didn't also Floyd just fight somebody too
In Japan.
in Japan
Yeah, he did. I forgot his name.
for big?
DeLeo or
Like,
something like that. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to stop,
But
Mayweather.
he's making, I mean, the amount of money that's pouring out of this guy is insane.
Right. And at that point, he's already proven himself. So
And nobody's questioning whether or not he's got, GOAT material.
Right.
He's already there. And so for him to do these things, it's like, why not?
Why not?
It's zero threat involved. I mean, most of us didn't even know there was a fight going on. Because
yeah,
nobody really
I didn't
cared.
know until after.
So,
But how much money do you think they raked in over there overseas, right?
millions, I guarantee it.
Because, now they're not looking at, U.S. market. Now they're looking at global market.
Yeah.
And then there's billions of people on the other side of the world, too, that
A lot more than in the U.S., of
Yeah,
course.
so
Definitely.
they're putting their, pennies or whatever
Yeah.
they're...
Because before it was frowned upon over there, this kind of violence and stuff like that in these other countries was prohibited. And now that it's becoming more mainstream in other countries as well, that pocket is opening up, especially for the UFC too. I mean, you guys are flying to Dubai, they're going to France, they're going to all these other places. They're chasing the money.
Yeah.
Smart
And it's fine, kind of like COVID when they were still doing the fights. They figured out a way to still
to make it happen.
happen.
I'm glad that's over. That was the weirdest time frame where everyone was fighting in complete silence.
Oh yeah.
Just
yeah.
like this, you're Joe Rogan. Like,
Yeah.
look at that. Dink, dink. You can
No-
hear everything.
No
It's
sound
like,
in the background.
It's
Even
horrible.
like soccer games and football games and all that was basketball games. It was just like very.
Just
I didn't
weird.
watch it.
That whole time frame was just weird.
Yeah.
Nobody liked
Like,
it.
people are in practice, right? And you heard the celebration of the goal, and you just hear the players screaming. It's like, what?
You're like, where's the fans?
So
Where's the-"
weird.
I figured they would at least add audio to it.
To do
Like,
something,
at
right?
least like add it so us
So,
listening to it is better.
how old were you when you figured out that TV shows had fake audio for the laughter when you're
I
watching?
think I was pretty.
When
Probably.
you're watching,
I was this old.
I just found
Family
out.
Matters, you're like,
It's not
oh my
real.
God, you're not really laughing.
Well, they had the fans there, no? They had the people actually watching.
I think that a few of them they did, but
but it
all
wasn't
those
that loud.
pre-recorded things, and you find out that it says applause, and everyone's like,
Right.
it's
they're
all
holding the
fake.
sign.
It was worse than WWE.
Cry. Don't cry.
They
Hey,
found out
WWE
Santa
is
Claus
real.
wasn't real.
WWE is real.
Earmuffs.
It's real.
It's a real sport.
It's all real.
It's all real. Didn't what's her name from UFC go to WWE now? What's the
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey is in the WWE now, kicking ass over there.
I don't know if she's still over there. She did make that conversion.
Correct.
I think Daniel Cormier is starting to kind of do a few things over there as well.
I think Logan Paul and all them are over there too.
Yeah.
I think it's just a money
Logan
thing. I
Paul.
think it's probably like a marketing thing, right? Because they know the younger kids are watching YouTube and this
Yeah.
and that, and they're like, well, we're starting to lose the younger audience, so let's bring the YouTubers here so they can start watching. Because like I don't watch
That's smart.
WWE no more. I mean,
I don't either.
I watched maybe a few months ago. I was like, I have no idea who these guys are. I don't know. Nobody.
Well,
The Rock's gone. Everybody's gone.
You go one of two ways. Either they bring the youth there and it's great, or none of the youth follows because they think it's dumb, and then they lose their current followers because they're like, why are you bringing these YouTubers over
Why
here?
are you bringing these?
Yeah, it's a gamble.
It is definitely a gamble.
But,
All right, guys.
Go ahead. But did you see the reel that he put out? Like how he was doing? He's pretty athletic.
Oh, I have
Super
not.
athletic. Yeah, he looked like a natural wrestler, jumping off the
Really?
third row, the third belt. Going through the tables, everything. Like Ed Hardy or some of the older ones.
Yeah, those were
tough.
But I think before, like the '90s, when we were watching WWE, it was a lot more aggressive than I think it is now.
WWF.
Oh yeah, WWF.
It was.
Like the Hardy Boy, like they were going through some tables, and that was probably
People
before.
were dying.
Yeah, that was probably before technology. Now that the tables are
People
probably
were
softer
floating from the ceiling and breaking their necks. I mean, it was.
from the cage.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. That was also
that was
bare
pretty-
knuckle fighting times and stuff. So.
That's why Stone Cold Steve Austin's all beat up from his knees and can barely walk.
To the Rock left.
Yeah, he's like, screw this.
Look at him now.
All right, guys. Well, we're back for episode 14. Here we have Daniel Diaz with us again. So to bring him back. We had a lot that we didn't finish last time we were here, and a lot of good topics that we want to add today. How you been?
I've been good.
You good?
Been doing well.
You been building more businesses? You got like 30 more businesses now?
I don't have more businesses, but there's definitely some new advances in business that was already there.
Last time we covered, you went through the food truck thing. You sold it. You got into real estate. You were doing roofing.
Yep.
You were painting grass. You were an artist.
I was.
Are you still an artist?
I still can be an artist. I don't put as much into that one. I think this is the time of year where that's going to come back and make an appearance, because when grass starts to go dormant is where grass painting really shines. So I think this time of year is where it'll start to come back up. And there was also a venture that we started in the summer, and it was bad timing for sure with that, and that was like electric bike rentals. And that was just we're in Conroe. Conroe's growing. There's a lot of niches that people have out there. That was one that was untapped. And so I went in with Joseph Kim. I think we might have spoke about him before.
Correct.
Him and his mother run the Korean restaurant here in town. And we got a couple electric bikes, and we're like, let's put these things out on the market. Super cheap, something that's affordable, whereas you go to other places and to rent anything for any period of time costs a lot. So it's super affordable. And I was like, we'll just rent them out. People can go downtown, Woodlands, whatever it is that you'd like to do and have a good time. But you go outside for 5 minutes in the summer, and you don't ever want to be outside again in Texas. So bad timing for sure. So this, again, might be the right time of year where something like electric bikes and things like that would shine, because it's starting to get brisker outside. People want to be outside during this time of year. So that might make an appearance as well.
Correct.
And do you have a website or an app, or how do people?
We had a Facebook page, and I think we've just been doing some local marketing and stuff like that, because we only have like 5 bikes, so we didn't intend on this thing being super huge yet. It was just one of those, again, little side things. It's like, why not? He had a few at his restaurant. We had a few at another location, and we were just kind of doing it like that. And if we do bring it back up, I'll let you guys know so that we can start to market that again.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be pretty cool. We could probably even bring them here. Post them up here or at the shop next door, something like that. So what are you working on now? I think I saw you posted.
Yep.
Big announcement.
So more recently, in being that I've been in real estate for a few years, my brokerage is Lucky Money Real Estate. They're out in the Woodlands. And within a brokerage, you can open up your own team, your own group of folks to work with you, and you guys kind of start this little mini empire of real estate agents. And so you still fall under the umbrella of the main broker, right? But it's like a separate entity in itself. And so I decided to do that for myself, because I've brought a few people in that I've worked with for years into real estate, and they've been doing pretty well. Some of them needed some guidance, some mentorship, and I've always enjoyed working in like a team atmosphere. So for me, it was like a natural, I want to work with the team. I want to work with these guys. There's a little bit of money involved as far as like making money from them, right? Like anything else, because you start a team, but a lot of benefits come with that. So I just started up. It's called the Fortune Team, and I started with 2 people.
You and 2 people?
Correct. So we're 3 total. One I used to recruit with, And we recruited together for about 5 years for the military. And then the other one goes to my jiu-jitsu gym, and I met him years ago as well. He also does medical sales in the area, started real estate, found love, and I brought them both on. And so we're still mentoring. We're still going through training, but a lot of them have already sold houses. They're getting things out there. They figured it out, which is great. And I've sponsored 2 others to complete the real estate course and come back on afterwards.
When you say sponsor, what does that mean?
I paid for the course.
Oh, no.
I said, listen, I think that you've got the capability to do this. I think that you have the drive that's required for real estate, because I'm sure you guys understand when people there's like over 10,000 agents in Houston alone, right?
Right.
There's a lot.
Anybody that you can talk to probably has it or knows somebody or something like that. It's not easy because there's marketing involved. You have to have that tenacious spirit to be like, I have to go out there and get it.
Right.
And oftentimes a lot of people don't. They're like, it's my side hustle. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'll sell nothing.
Maybe a friend will refer me, and then I'll start there.
They're not concerned. Or maybe they're like, I'm an investor, or I think I'm an investor, right? I'm going to jump on there and find all these deals, and then they don't find deals, and they didn't never do anything, which is fine.
Right.
But there's a lot of folks like that out there. That mindset, though, especially when you're watching things on TV and stuff, is I'm going to make so much money. Right. I'm going to sell a house and make thousands, and I'm going to do all this stuff with it. It's a lot harder than it looks.
It is.
It's not impossible, but it's harder. And with the right mentorship, guidance, and figuring out how to do it the right way, you can be successful. So I saw 2 other folks that kind of weren't really lost, but they're like, I need to do something else. I would like to do something else. And we spoke about it, and I was like, listen, if you're going to commit, if you're willing to do it, I'll sponsor you, get it done. I'll bring you on my team, and we can really start making this thing grow.
And you're still looking to add people, or just, you're not looking, but if people come to you, you're willing to talk to them and figure, like an interview base.
Correct.
To kind of see if they really want to, or they just want somebody to pay for their class.
Correct.
Hey, I think I want to sell houses.
We can make it happen.
So how does this team work? Are they your employees, and I know in real estate, like, you're kind of all independent?
Right. We're independent contractors, so everybody's 1099. But they are, so for instance, I create a contract for them, and it's a basic contract because, like anything else, we still want you to produce. It's still sales in a way.
Right.
And so if I bring you on and in the entire year you sell 1 house, not only did you not benefit yourself because you're not progressing, you didn't benefit me because of the time and energy that I'm putting into you as well. And so a basic contract for me is, you need to sell X amount of houses in X amount of time. And if you cannot, we're going to figure out what's going on, see if we can get you there. And if we don't do that, then you're off the team.
Right.
Seems cutthroat, but it is a cutthroat business.
Right.
And we need people that are hungry to do it. That's not saying that you're spending every waking moment doing it, but you have to have that spirit in you that's like, man, I'm hungry. I want to do it. I need to do this, because somebody that has that drive in them is what's going to be successful. Again, there's a million agents out there. There's ones that don't sleep. There's a sign on every corner. They're doing everything possible.
Right. I do see that a lot.
It's like car salesmen. They're everywhere. But to get those that stand out, those that can kind of figure out how to get into these deals and stuff like that and close deals, that's what you want.
And what is like the top 3 things that you would say they would have to kind of have to be a good real estate agent? Like, of course, you got to be very talkative. You got to be able to be good with people. But what's like top 3 things?
I think right off the top for me is personable. So somebody that has that ability to walk into a room and not necessarily command presence all the time, but you have the ability to host a conversation with anybody. Because to open any sales, that's what you need. You need to be able to come up to somebody, ask them what they're doing, ask them how their day is, kind of work your way into there, and then figure out how you can put yourself into that situation to gain a sale. Not that you're always trying to get it. We're not.
Right.
If you talk to me, that's not always what I'm up to. But you have to have that ability to do so. And so I think that's being personable, someone that's not just closed off, because you've seen people out there. You look at them, you're like, not that you're a bad person, I just don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Is that
probably not the kind of person
what they call like emotional intelligence, right?
Correct.
Like, you walk into a room and you can read the room and you can see who's the leader of the group, who's the one making the, bringing all that energy.
Exactly.
How can you match that and also provide value to that room? That's like, people don't have that. They walk
not
in
everybody
and then
does.
just, and they go into the corner and say, how all these people don't know I lift.
Oh yeah, that meme. Yeah, that was a good meme.
That's exactly right. There's some people that have it, some people that don't. I think there's always a debate with whether or not you can teach somebody to do those things, or if they have the ability to do so.
I think if they want it, if they want it bad enough, then they can definitely learn it.
You can learn, But
can be simulated.
there's
you
a
know?
lot of things you
Has to
can
come
learn,
natural.
but how do you teach years worth of facial expressions or just your ambiance, who you are as a person? Like, that's a lot of.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
yeah. That just comes through experience, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
mean,
can't
actors
teach
do it, but
yeah, you can't teach somebody in 1 year. Like, you can tell them, okay, in 5 years you're gonna be in this point,
right,
but you have to put in the work.
exactly. And I have no problem doing that. But here's the thing, right? I have no problem doing that when you're in real estate as a whole. But to be on the team, we want you past that point,
Right.
and we're
Right.
ready
Yeah,
to go.
you're a
You-
selective.
So that's
team.
like the
yeah.
top 3 things that you look at, like just
Correct.
have a conversation, and I guess be able to just carry that conversation and
To be
carry.
able to have it.
Yeah. Okay,
Because
so-
at the end of the day, you know, anybody can sell a Toyota, but if you're going to sell, Mercedes, a Lexus, a Ferrari, you want somebody that's been past the
Right,
normal sales
correct.
point and now can hit that different market, that different set of people that are looking for something more. And so I think that the next thing that comes with that would be creativity, somebody that can market the right way, because nowadays you have to be able to utilize social media, things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these different platforms.
like all your TikTok videos. Can we pull one up? His TikTok videos.
So
Hilarious.
there's a lot of things
Yeah,
out there
pull it
that,
up
that
there.
people are using to try and market themselves differently. And
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's a good tool to use nowadays, but not everybody has the ability to do that. There's some people that don't have social media at all. And I'm like, well, that's fine, I guess, right? But how are you going to get to your center of influence? How are you going to get to those people and say, hey, I'm reaching out to all these people? Or even more so, you sell a house or you do something and you want to share it. Who are you sharing it to?
Right. Where are you going to build that
How
little
are you building your
foundation?
business?
Yeah.
It's
And
like
people
somebody,
to see.
somebody can make 100 phone calls and say, "Oh, I've done my 8 hours or 10 hours worth
Yep.
of work today," but then somebody goes on social media and influences 30,000 or 40,000
crazy.
people, and you're like, "Well,
It takes
I only
creativity.
did this for an hour, posted it, and then it's working on its own, and you're over here calling people
Right.
day
Exactly.
and night, and you can't even reach those numbers in a year."
It's very true. It's very true. And I think that if I were to think of the last one, I think, and everyone's like, oh, you got to be humble and stuff like that. I don't think so much you want to be humble, but I think that when most people close sales in a sales-oriented employment area, they do it in a way that's like, done, next. You get what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Like, I've finished this one, I'm moving on to the
I'm
next
done.
one. It's a ticket, it's a number, I'm done. And that can turn people off in things like real estate as well. Because you're done, you never speak to them again, you never see them again. How are you going to gain more business? How is it you're
Correct.
going to perpetuate more of the same thing when you're so close-ended? When it's so like,
Like
so I think-
Transaction based, where it's just like,
exactly.
correct. So it's like building that relationship with them. Like, hey, it's
Being
been
able
3
to
months.
build a relationship.
How'd you like it? Did we do good? Did you get everything?
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to tell their friends, hey, man, not only did he help me, but after that, he made sure he gave me other feedback
Exactly.
as a new homeowner, what to look at, or, I'm sure there's more stuff. I'm not a homeowner, but I'm
Yeah.
sure there's more stuff once you lock in a house deal that. I know I used to do new construction, and we used to leave we used to do brick and stone, and we would leave the brick and the stone at the house.
Yep.
And then the customers had up to a year. If there was any issues, we would have to come back and fix a brick
Fix
or
it.
whatever.
That's under warranty,
But,
yeah.
but I'm sure some owners probably knew, some owners probably didn't know. So it's like sharing extra information like that.
Well, I think it's giving them that warm feeling that they can come to you even months after it's already done. Even with something like that, like, oh, it's been 7-8 months and there's something wrong with my house, a warranty issue.
Mhm.
Hey, do you remember who I have to call? Do you remember what I have to do? Do you remember all these things? If you were so close-ended by the end of it and it was like, we're done, thank you for the money, see you later,
Right.
they're not going to want to do those things. They're going to reach out to somebody else. But for them to still be able to pick up the phone and call you, that speaks volumes for yourself as a person and then how you conducted yourself in that deal.
And you become their person of contact for that
Exactly.
certain things. Like for us, we bought a house it was 8 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember, 2016. So a real estate person, she sends us gift cards every now and then. She sends us, information about other homes if we're looking. She sends us value of our home. All this information is like, oh yeah, like a real estate. Yeah, we'll call this person because we know them.
Right.
Correct.
We know them rather than we know a person.
And they're staying relevant.
Right.
Like they're
Right.
staying relevant in it. It's not always just a sale. Sometimes it's a gift card.
Mhm.
It's something nice. It's like, man, they're still thinking about me.
Correct.
And
That's good. And then if you do ever think about getting another house,
Yeah, we know somebody.
No, you know
we know
somebody.
Exactly.
them. We
No.
trust them because we've already gone through the process. Or if we have a real estate question, what would it take to get this house, or what would it take to get this land, or what
Right.
would we call them,
Exactly.
because we've already gone through all the onboarding or the whole process.
done it
with
all
them.
already.
Yeah. Now it's just them like, oh, we know you, who you are. We know your history. I know you guys. Like, I know the best thing for you guys, so it's,
Yeah, you've built that bond, and that's what
Yeah.
you need. That was what my most recent video we're talking about TikTok. That's what it was about, was somebody that used a different agent, but then was still, they come to you or was coming to me for questions.
Right.
I was like, oh, it's cute.
It's cute.
Nice of you to use somebody else and ask me, but that's, at the end of the day, it shows
Yeah.
that they have that trust in you, which is important to have.
And right now, what do you think? What's the average age group? Is it a lot of young people coming in? Real
It's-
estate, or is it just
it's so diverse,
from like
honestly.
18 years old to like 50 years old?
I remember when I was growing up, and maybe it was just who my parents had selected, but I remember when they were house shopping and stuff like that growing up, I felt like the age was like 50 plus. I was like, oh, you've got to be elderly to be a real estate agent.
Right.
I didn't know. That's all I thought about. And I carried that same perception through, dang near the rest of my adulthood until I became an agent. I was like,
You're
wow,
like, I'm 40, so now I can start.
now I can start. But no, honestly, even in my own brokerage, you see them all. I mean, there's young kids that are
Correct,
fresh out of school and they've just started. Some, middle-aged, some that are older. It's a very diverse group of folks. There's no age time frame. Some people are retired and then they decide, I don't want to just sit at home all day. Let me try this and let me enjoy doing something, being around people. There's the young guys that are like, college isn't for me.
Correct.
Maybe this will work, or they're already hungry for it.
That's why I asked, because I have my brother's uncle. You think he just turned 19, and he started posting that he's a real estate agent and hit him up and this and that. And I'm like, hey,
Doing step one.
what is all that? What do you need to be a real estate agent? You need a real estate license,
Correct.
and
So the first thing is getting your real estate license. So you're going to sign up for a Texas approved school, whether it be online or in person. Once you complete that, you go through a series of like background investigations. They do your fingerprinting, they check your background, right? And then once all that stuff is done and complete, then you want to go through and find a brokerage that's gonna hold your license. And that's an important part of the process as well, because you could join a brokerage that you're not happy with, and then you got to leave that one to go through another one is another little paper trail process. So
and when you say happy with, what's that, like how they work with you, the information with their team, like
all
you with your
encompassing.
team, just
So it's going to be, there's also splits involved. And so I'm not going to
get too
pinpoint
deep.
any
Right.
particular brokerages out there, but
there's
There's some
several
that
of
might
them
have,
in the Montgomery area.
higher splits, lower splits, meaning that how much you get to take home. So as an agent, an average percentage you take home for a sale or purchase price, 3%. Well, from that 3%, whatever that number is, from that, your brokerage is going to take a split. Rightfully so, right? Because they're involved in taking a big hit when it comes to insurance. They cover you insurance-wise, any errors that you have on any of your things. From a legality standpoint, it's like having an LLC. They are taking a lot of the brunt of something if something goes wrong.
Right.
Another risk, yeah.
And so,
And then
portions of what you pay for go to that. That's
They
important.
do your marketing as well. You have you can host your website with them.
Correct.
You can,
And then
can
their
do
name.
their name.
And that's what I'm
so
getting
you
at
become
is
part of their brand.
the platforms that they provide for you. Because there's some that will give you lots of training and a lot of things, but they don't give you the platforms, or they might charge you for the platforms required to be able to conduct your business. So I would say the split, so how much you get to take home, the training that you get, what it feels when you go in there, right? Because some of those, you might have to be in a suit and tie every day. Nothing wrong with that, but if that's not you and you just want to go in some chanclas,
Yeah.
Some Lulus.
I want to wear some shorts or whatever
Oh, my
someday.
Lulu. So can I
or-
become a real estate agent and then buy my own, and then look for my own house and close on my own house?
You can.
There's no, it's legal. Like there's no
It's
issues
legal.
between that.
Correct. I mean, you still want to check in with your broker because at the end of the day, you belong to them, so to speak, right, as far as being under their umbrella. And so some might have certain stipulations as to how many maybe per year that they allow for friends and family transactions like that where a split isn't taken. And again, it's just legalities of it all. But
Because I want to pay myself that 3%.
yeah, do it, man.
That'd be good.
Buy
I'll
yourself.
spend all this money and time just so I can save 3%.
Then maybe you can buy a motorcycle.
Definitely.
See what I
What-
did there?
I need to get a motorcycle. I feel like it's almost like I have to. I need it.
At this point in time, you have to do it. We've been talking about it for so long. I've never met anybody that sent me so many for sale motorcycles and not purchased one.
Look, bro.
Look at this great deal.
But I think the main thing, the reason I don't get it, of course, is just
Scared.
my wife is like, no. right? And it didn't help. I was almost talking to her.
Great topic point.
Switch it over. It's just, and then like I was getting her like kind of comfortable, and then she's like, "Oh, guess what?" I was like, "What happened?" She's like, one of my dad's real good friends in Mexico had a motorcycle crash." I was like, "Now I'm back at the bottom again,
those
trying to."
deaths never help.
Yeah, I was like that.
Like I'm always like, "Oh, I'm gonna get one," and then somebody just
Something happens.
Correct. But I think the main thing between that is just, I mean, what your guys' opinion is just like I could easily probably go get it, right? But then it's like weighing out the pros for the cons, right? It's like I'm gonna go get it and I'm gonna be good, and for the reasons what I want it for is just to be local, right? Like I'm not gonna get it and go to downtown Houston. Like I mean, it'll probably be maybe years and years, and I feel more better riding. But my thing is just locally, right? Just here to the house. I mean, what I do is I come here, I work, and then I go back home usually, or the gym. So that's the idea, right? But it's like if I get it, weighing out the things like. I think when you're married, you have to almost kind of weigh out and pick your battles. Is that how you say it, right?
Yeah,
so you
want to
pick your battles. So it's like I can get it and be cool and be happy and be save on gas and all these other excuses or benefits,
the pros,
right? But then it's like at what point and then what happens, right?
I agree with that. I do agree with that. You have to do that a lot. But I heard this guy, right? He's an elderly gentleman one day. He said something that I think was impactful. And so
it's always the elderly.
It's always the elderly. They've got great knowledge. I love
definitely.
I love those that are mature in life. And so it was a young guy that came up to him. And he had asked him, he had seen him doing something. He said, "Listen, man," he said, "I'd appreciate if you didn't tell my mother." He knows his mother. They're the same age. "I appreciate if you didn't tell my mother." And he said, "Listen, I'm not going to say anything. You know, you're an adult. You do what you want to do." Right. He's like, "Oh, man, thank you so much." He said, "But I'm going to tell you this. As an adult, as a man, you shouldn't have to ask permission for anything. You should be convicted and confident in your own decisions because you're a man." The end. That was impactful.
It is.
Now, in today's world, you know, there's a lot of different things that you can say about that, but just what came behind that was, as a man, you should feel confident. You may not always be confident in everything, but you should have confidence and convictions in what you say, in what you do, in how you act, and you shouldn't feel apologetic for those things.
Correct. I agree.
Does that mean you should blindside your wife and buy a motorcycle? I don't know. But sometimes as a man, you have to be like, "Listen, I'm a man.
An executive.
This is what I want."
What do you think about that, Luis?
No, I think as a man, you should. It should be like what you say goes because what you say is the right thing. But you have to get to that place where you know you're right because you're not always right. So
that's good.
So you should always be there, but you're not always there. So it's like when you're ready to buy a bike or make a decision, everybody should trust you, meaning your whole family, your wife, your kids. They should trust you that you are making the right decision. It's like you know, going to war. It's like, are we going to war? Because it's up to you.
Yep.
But if we're going, we're all going because you decided.
Exactly.
Because you know what's the best for us. So it's like, and you get to that point because like because of your experience. But not everybody has that experience, right? So you know
where you are.
Correct. Right? So if you're not ready to buy a bike, don't buy it. But whenever you're ready, just do it.
All right, I'm gonna go right now, after this episode.
And conversely, but conversely, you shouldn't be getting knocked down for it neither, right?
Correct.
Like, oh, you got to buy. You just don't care about your family.
Correct.
You don't care about our well-being. You don't care if we're left with paying all the bills by ourselves. You don't. That brings on a whole nother segment of things, right? Where it's like, you can have legitimate reasons for not wanting. I just don't like it. Me personally, I just don't like it.
Correct.
I hear you. That's great.
I hear you, and I'm gonna do steps to make sure I'm safe and make you feel more comfortable, right? But I think that's one of my topics, right? Where it's like, kind of exactly what you said. I'm like, look, if I was 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, maybe, and I bought it, that's a different Ray than who I am now, right? Correct. At that point, I'm still young. I was partying, still doing my thing, cool. And it's like, my father-in-law said, he's like, well, you don't drink.
Yeah.
You're not very, you don't really speed. You don't really.
Tienes vicios.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he said.
Level-headed.
Right, and he's like, you should get it, And I was like, hey, did you hear your dad? Did you hear your dad? But I think that's the main thing, and that's where I'm at now, where it's like I can I can go get it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe just waiting a little bit more, maybe keeping her state of mind a little bit more comfortable. And I think by that is just like me getting other things ready to make her feel more comfortable. That I'm gonna get it.
Like your
Will,
will.
will somebody ever be? Will they ever be ready though?
I don't think they'll ever be ready, but I think it'll be a way of making sure she's a little bit more comfortable in general, right? Like,
And that's respectful.
right, just
It's
making
respectful.
sure. And again, it goes back to like, okay, where are we at in our relationship? Where are we
Yeah.
at, like trust? Where are we at as far as like finances? Where are we at? Like, okay, look, we're good, we're stable, we have, emergency fund. We have all this stuff
Yeah.
that's good. Now I can make this decision, and and it doesn't have to be with the motorcycle, right? It can be like, okay, now we can buy a new car. Now we can
Yeah.
do a new thing based on what. Now we can open another store, and I think that's the biggest thing. But I think we have, like me, I have to take the man thing out of it. Like, be like, I'm gonna do it because I'm a man, and kind of cut that off because
Oh,
Well, let me
cut
ask
what
you
off?
something though. Let me ask you something though. Let's say that you've always wanted a sleeve tattoo. You want it. That is just like, that's your thing. You love tattoos. You really want it. She's opposed to it. Does not like them. Doesn't want them. Doesn't care for them.
I'd
Now
get it.
what?
I'd
Does
get
he
it.
already
Do
have
you
a
get it?
tattoo?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm in the talks, and I was supposed to go today to go to the guy to start finishing this one up. But
But in that same scenario.
correct. But I think it's understanding as a person in general is like the cons and the ways, right? I think a tattoo brings no risk. If she's like, hey, I'm gonna open a new store, don't open the store, or I'm gonna spend this, I'm gonna put $10,000 on Bitcoin. Like,
Right.
oh, I don't want that. Okay, but that doesn't harm. I think the biggest thing is just my life at stake. I think in the
More so than what they think about it.
correct. Does that make sense?
No.
Well, because
No,
that's
that didn't make
this is
so-
where I'm getting at with it, is that we can say that there's women out there, right? That's something like that. Like, I don't like it when you wear that. I just don't like it. Well, then that kind of makes you think, well, do you like me for me? Or who do you really, what do you really like? Am I supposed to form myself into something that you really like? There was a meme out there I saw, you guys might have seen it, and it was like a 4-quadrant photo. And on the top left quadrant is a guy with a girl. He just meets her. She's like, oh my God, I'm so in love, whatever. And the next one, she's like, well, you should really get a haircut and trim up your beard and, change your clothes. And the third one, he changes it all up. And then the fourth one, she's like, you're just not who you used to be. I don't like you anymore.
Yes, I've seen stuff
You
like
see what
that.
I'm getting, right?
Correct.
So sometimes it makes you wonder, right? When it's, do this, do that, or don't do this, don't do that. And you wanting to salvage that relationship or continue to build, I don't want to say give in, but you comply. Like,
Correct.
okay, you're right. But at what point do you continue to give up things that you want or that you like for the sake of that, and then you start losing who you are as a person? What do you think about that?
Based on that book, I figured you might have something more since you finished that book that I'm reading now. But I mean, based on what I've read, and I agree with it 100%. It's like and just in general, man or woman, he, she, or they, or whatever.
This ain't the place for that.
Oh, that's
Ray.
not okay. Wrong
Get
one.
canceled.
We're gonna get
Speak
canceled.
your mind.
But I think that's the biggest thing is it has to come to a point where you don't have to put your happiness or your well-being on the other person, right? It has to be on you, right?
Yeah.
For instance, there's certain things that I looked at when I was single and I was looking for a new relationship based on my previous, right? It's like the gym's my thing.
Yeah.
Whether we're broke, whether we have money, whether I'm fat, whether I'm skinny, whatever might be going on in life, the gym's part of me,
Yeah.
right? Whatever might be going on, certain things are part of me, and those are things that I'm not gonna give up, right? So if you know that now or whatever, then we
Shouldn't be a problem later.
shouldn't be a problem later. Correct. Same thing, vice versa, right? So it's like there's certain things that person might like that I'm not gonna be like, oh, hey, why are you doing that now? Hey,
Right.
I've been doing this all my life. But I think once you start to give in there's certain things you can give in, right? Or like kind of change a little bit.
Yeah.
But as long as you're okay with it, because then you start to build that, what's the word? Like,
Resentment.
resentment. There you go. Then
Yeah.
you start to build that, right? And then that doesn't lead anywhere. And I think as men, because we want to keep our women happy, quote
Yeah.
unquote, you're like, I can do it. But then 2-3 years later, now you're not happy.
And now you think it's because of the other person.
Correct.
You're like, you did this to me.
Correct.
It's your fault.
Correct. So I think there should always be boundaries and certain things you can
word.
give in, right? Where it's like, for instance, I don't know, let me just throw something like, let's say she likes ballets and I hate ballets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to a few ballets, right? And I give that in, right? But it's not like everyday thing.
Right.
Like
It's a
you have,
constant.
it's like a balance, and you have to have that whether you're woman or man, like, and stick to it because real quick on a side note, like before I gave up the gym, trying to make the other person happen, and I was like, this isn't who I am.
Yep.
Yeah, we might be a little bit happier, but I'm not happy.
And
I
a
gotta
lot
go.
of the times, women will tell you, I want this,
Yep.
but it's not what they want. So it's like there's a huge like issue with like saying, oh, I want this, I want you to cut your hair, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. But in reality, they just want you to be you. You know, they want you to be you to the max.
Correct.
Whatever that is. They're trying to, you know, hold you, restrain you, but you want to be free, right? So
Exactly.
So whatever that is, you know, you always have not always have to go to the opposite, but like don't always take what you're hearing as a literal like don't do that.
I think that for men there's a level of, and we'll use the word dominance for lack of other ones at the moment, but I think that every woman to a degree, right, enjoys a certain level of dominance in a man.
Definitely.
We can say alpha, whatever the case may be, but and we'll take that example. We're like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and at some point for you to be like, no, or I'm going to do what I want to do anyways with regards to something. It's not disrespectful.
You can't say it like that.
It's not. It's not disrespectful, right? To say like I'm not gonna, I like what I'm wearing. I like this is who I am. This is what I want to do. But I think that when you stand your ground, sometimes it can be seen, right? Maybe as an attractive trait for that opposite person because they're like, oh, like this person.
He still
He's
got
doing what
he's not doing what he's told, or
Yeah.
I didn't have to tell him to do something. He's just doing it because he's being told. So even though it might contradict what they want, it's still almost an attractive trait for them.
Correct.
And I think that this kind of ties into something that a lot of men do nowadays too, and that's being complacent in their relationships. And I think that's huge because it ties into what we were saying that, hey, listen, I don't want you to go to the gym anymore. Or maybe not anymore. Let's even say less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you work all day. You come home at 5 o'clock, and then you go to the gym at 6 o'clock. It's my life, right? You go to the gym at 6 o'clock, and you're there till 7:30, and then you get home, then you eat dinner, and you go to bed. I want to spend more time with you. And you think about it, and you're like, okay, well, that's self-care. It's good for me. I need this. But also I can understand, like, okay, you know what? You're right. And so you flex once, twice, 3, 4 times. Next thing you know, you're not going to the gym anymore.
Right.
Okay. You've lost the gym. Now it's like, well, we're not going to the gym anymore. Like, now you stop eating your chicken and rice. Like, I want us to eat, let's eat some yummy pasta and let's have cake every now and then. Okay.
Burgers,
And then next thing you
fries.
know, you're out of shape, right? You've stopped doing a lot of self-care and maintenance because you don't have it in you. Maybe you feel that confident in your partner that you're like, I don't need a haircut. She loves me anyways, right? Because she reaffirms you and tells you, I love you the way you are. And you're like, by golly, okay, I don't need a haircut anymore. And so you start losing a little bit of yourself, right? Well, what happens in that process?
Right.
I think that in that process, you become a beta. You start losing who you were, and in some way, even though you gave her what she wanted, you now become somebody that she may not want.
Correct.
And I think that's a big problem.
And I agree 100% with that. And then the same thing is, I think if at the beginning you were like that, right? You had a certain body thing. She was attracted to that.
Correct.
Right. So then you no longer have that, right?
You lost it.
And then now you're spending more time together. So I believe after you spend so much time together, one or the other person gets annoyed, something happens, right? It's like, right? And then it's like, well, look at you. And it's kind of like
you slob.
You slob, right? It's like, and then you start thinking back and you're like, but I gave her the time.
Exactly.
We started going out to eat more. We started doing this. We started eating late popcorn or watching movies late. We did all this. Now I'm the bad guy. Now I'm fat.
Yeah.
Now I can't carry. Now I get out of breath. Whatever it might be, right? Or now I might not be as attractive to her, right?
Exactly.
Now maybe sex starts to go down because it's like, all right, I don't want this big fat boy on me no more, or whatever. And I think that's the biggest thing is sticking to what makes you happy regardless, right? So it's like there's a guy at the gym, and we used to work out at another gym, and we saw him there, and he would go in the afternoons. Now I go at 5 a.m., so now I started seeing him in the morning. Yeah. I was like, hey, bro, you coming in the morning? He's like, yeah, man, old lady. And he's like, old lady said, I work, what you just said. He was like, I work late, and then I go to the gym, I get home late. So I told her I wasn't going to stop, so now I just get up earlier and come in the morning.
Right? Found a way to make it work.
So you find a way to make it work without you changing who you are and upsetting her or whatever
Yeah.
it might be, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I see him now. He's like, man, this is better, bro. Like, I get home
Yeah.
now. We got the rest of the day. We chill. We go out. Oh,
It's nice.
you know, so it's finding a system without changing who you are as a man or even a woman, right? Changing
Right.
who you are as a woman. And I think that's the biggest thing that people need to understand. You don't
Yeah.
have to always change for your partner, right? Especially if you've been together for several months, years, or not months, for several years,
Yeah.
right? It's like that is who you are. And we always change for the better, right? We're always getting better. We're not the same person we were yesterday that we were last week, right? New life, new experiences have changed us for the better, I hope, right?
Yep.
Most people.
That's true.
So I think men just need to be able to stick to who you are, because you are
Yeah.
the alpha. Like, I believe 100% we are the alpha and we're the leaders and we're the breadwinners, and woman can do it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
she can work. Yeah, she can help pay bills, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, as men, it's who we're, I think, almost even wired.
It's ingrained in you.
Correct.
And that's, and I'm not sure if you guys know anybody like this too, but this is to say that if your woman, you know, is just making, you know, God bless her, right, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, even $100,000, right? She's bringing in a lot of money, and you have to become or take the role of being like the home care person for children or whatever the case is, because maybe your children are young and, you know, costly child care is going up and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's bad, right? Like, if she landed, she's a doctor, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
If she landed that, like, it makes sense for you to be like, okay, like, for us, this makes sense. But it's still important to note that when she takes that position and she's in that higher position, she's taking on alpha roles.
Correct.
And if you are at home because you think it's good, but you're taking on beta roles, that's a problem. So that, to me, almost makes me seem too like you need to be able to do something else, even though you're at home, that continues to let everybody know, maybe let yourself know, I'm still holding my stature. Maybe you're out there and you're bodybuilding, or you're doing something that, and obviously we're throwing a lot of masculine things out there. You know, I don't want to offend anybody, but
We just got blocked. And
yeah, dang it. You know, but doing something that's like, you know, work on hot rods, go racing, do something on your off time, do something that's still like, this is still who I am. I'm doing this because it's for the betterment of our family. But, you know.
Yeah. So I think personally, I've been in both, where, you know, I went through school making $11,000 a year. You know, my wife was making a lot more. She graduated with her master's at like 22, 23.
Wow, that's impressive.
So, you know, she's been making money this whole time. I'm over here struggling,
Yeah.
going through school, making $11,000 a year at
Yep.
like 26, 27, going through school, you know, finding my first job after, throughout all this time, like, the role of like money hasn't influenced like the role of the relationship, if that makes
It's
sense.
important.
So it's like, just because you make less doesn't mean you shouldn't.
You are less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't mean that you as a man should, you know, think less of yourself.
Right.
Because like, I was on a path to say, like, in 10 years or in 5 years, I know where I'm going to be at. And that's the important thing, you know, always
Having that mindset.
yeah, having that mindset of like, hey, you know, right now I'm not making money, but, you know, eventually this is where we're going to be at, because like that's
important.
That's where we're headed towards, you know. And
You're not at McDonald's holding her from behind while she pays.
Yeah.
Just holding her.
I've seen that, dude. I've seen that.
yeah. So like, now we're in the position where like, yeah, we're making around the same
Yep.
amount, but nothing has changed, because, you know, it's always been like, okay, what's the next thing? For
Set
me,
that standard.
like, it's like, what's the next thing? What's the next goal? It's like, at least that you, as long as you have like a goal in mind as a man,
Not losing ambition.
yeah, as long as you have that, you know, the numbers, I don't personally, I don't think it matters, because
No.
it didn't matter for me.
No.
And now that I'm making a lot more, you know, we haven't done our income taxes, but like, you know,
Yeah.
depending, like, nothing's changed, because now that we're married, now we're just, you know, together as one. But when we were separate, it was like, okay, this boyfriend over here,
Yeah.
barely going to college, you know.
I already
No,
got
no.
my master's. This
Yeah.
clown over
Yeah.
here.
She introduces you as this. Oh, this is
Yeah.
My friend.
my friend.
Yeah, so it's none of that, right? It was none of that, because of who she is. So it
Yeah.
also depends on the person too.
Correct. But I think that's like understandings that you guys had at the beginning.
Yeah,
And like you said, the goals. Like, there was never like,
yeah. When we first
like-
met, it was like, well, I was like, when we first met, I was like, well, you know, like, you already have your master's, and I'm over here working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm gonna go to college, and I'm gonna be broke for like 4 years, you're okay with that because it's not going to be easy, and then that's the path that we took.
But you
She's
set the precedence either way. Either way, you were like, this is the way it's going to be.
Correct. And you said
Yeah.
that, and you
Yeah.
stuck to it. And like
Right.
you made this comment a few weeks back, or I don't know when it was, and you were like, if she wants to take a step down now,
Right.
you've been
Right.
able to like.
Yeah. Now if like, okay, now if she wants to take the role of like, okay, now, we have, babies or whatever. Now she can be like, okay, now I'm going to stay home. It's like, okay, now we're at the point where, yeah, you can stay home.
Correct.
Yeah. And
But I
that's
think
good.
it's sticking to it, and then you never lost that as a man. Like, let me, like I'm nobody. You were like, hey, I know who I am. We know the all-time goal, and I think that's the biggest thing with guys. I think after a while they start feeling like they're nobody. Like they let their
Exactly.
themselves start to feel down. Like she's making more money than me. She's doing this. She's doing that, and I'm just like here doing nothing right. And it's like you start losing that when maybe
Could
when you
slip into a
when-
depression.
Correct. And maybe when you first guys got together, like you were the macho, you were the
Yeah.
like I think women like to feel safe.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right?
That's
As
part
men,
of
we
it.
want to make them feel safe. Money and all that
But
comes.
scared at the same time.
Yeah, they better. But I think money and all that comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, cool, I have money or I'm making the money, but I know I'm safe, right? And maybe that was the thing with you, right? Like, hey, maybe I'm making the money, but he's got me. He's got my back.
Yeah.
If something goes south, he's gonna step up the role,
Right.
and he's like, I feel safe. That's why we can continue to go this path. And I think that's the biggest thing where guys start to lose that, and you can't lose that.
I think that is
regardless.
the problem, is when guys do lose that. Because there's a lot of guys now that, like you said, maybe those roles happen, something like that. There's a shift, and then they end up not being in that same position. And a lot of women sometimes, and we've used the terminology man shaming, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes they'll get to that position or that point in their life where they're like, man, I'm doing all these things, this and that, and you've taken this role, and now it's like they look down on you. Almost like that, it's been taken for granted. Like, yeah, you're doing this at home, and that's great, but you know what? And you see, whoever this, Julio over here is doing all these great things, and Julio's,
Oh, yeah,
he's a
comparison.
CEO, and he's doing all this sorts of stuff there. Even though you once were seen in this light, when those roles reverse and you don't do anything about it, it's like getting complacent, right? It's when that work-life balance changes as well, you could start to look at them and be like, man, like look at this person, what they're doing. And that's the worst thing for your relationship, right? Is if that starts to happen and they start to see something else, or they're starting to look at that direction, see them in that same light, now they're going to start looking at you and be like, well, you're just sitting here, right? And
Right.
so it's important for men to know that, and to know that
But
you shouldn't get depressed.
If they are just sitting there, then that is the problem.
But I think-
exactly.
but
They're not doing
sometimes-
anything to change it.
but sometimes maybe does the woman allow that to happen, right? Like,
So it's the. I mean, it's
Well, we
always
can't
gonna-
blame them.
Yeah,
well,
Got to take accountability.
yeah.
well-
It's always
well-
gonna be like you as like you can't have the cake. What is it? You can't.
Cake and eat it.
Yeah, like you can't say, "Oh, I'm the man. I can do whatever I want," and then it's like, "Oh, but then you did whatever you want and you didn't do anything, and now
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's not my fault." Like,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you-
makes sense.
yeah.
Makes sense. And I
Because
think the main thing is you also can't compare.
You cannot.
You cannot compare because I think social media and all that has really made it really, really hard, right? So,
It has.
and even in general, right? It's like comparing myself to this super couple. Look how they look. Look how
Exactly.
they travel. Look how they. And what are we doing? And we know we're not doing nothing. We're working, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And this. And now what? Now Julio comes and he's all
Yeah,
swole.
well,
Yeah.
Right, fucking Julio. He
Yeah.
comes and then it's
Damn,
like,
Julio.
yeah, he's like, look, he has a following. He does this.
Yeah.
Like, you're not doing nothing. You're
Yep.
weak.
The
Like,
following.
what's up, Julio? Come
Yeah.
here. Come
And it's
hold
not
me.
that you
Come-
don't have the ability to be Julio. It's just you've put yourself in that place. And
Right.
you've said, you know what, this is my role now, and I'm okay with it. But you'll get depressed. You'll get sad. You'll see yourself lower than what you are, and that's a hard place to pull yourself out of.
Definitely.
To bring yourself back up and be like, man, like I'm a man. But then you're like, what is a man? How do you even look at yourself like that anymore? Like, you forget who you are and how to get yourself back there.
Right.
And it's a long road back up. So the best thing is, if you're a man out there and you're listening and you're at that point now, you got to make a change.
You have to.
You have to flip the script, whether it's going to the gym first, doing something to get your mind right, get your body right, and then figuring out, how do I flip this? I don't care if you've got $1 million in the bank, but if you're sitting home doing nothing, you're sitting at home doing nothing,
Right.
right? You want to be able to change that and say, I've got to make a change for myself,
I
because
have
when
a
you
plan, right?
when you look at yourself and you look at yourself like you are just the number one, regardless of what anybody else thinks, that's how people are going to start feeling like. And there's a teeter, right?
Right.
Like, you don't want to be like this cocky, douchebag
Why not?
necessarily either. Nah, you can be. It's fine.
I'm better.
I like you anyway. It's fine. But you wanna still be able to pull yourself out of this rut and be like, I'm still important. I can still do all these things. And you slowly doing that will start to make the other person see like, wow, like this person, this is who you used to be, or this
Correct.
is who you are, or because this is the world we live in, right? You're starting to gain more attention now, and women like men are jealous. Women like men are kind of what's the word where they, oh well, they want you, I want you now too, type thing,
Correct,
right? They have
correct.
that
Correct.
when you're
abundance mentality. It's called
Yeah.
abundance and scarcity, right? Like if you're
Two
super,
good words.
super scarce, like nobody wants you, then nobody wants you. If
Exactly.
you're abundant, everybody wants you. Everybody wants abundance, prosperity.
everyone
right?
wants Julio.
Now everybody
How do you
wants
become Julio?
Now
You
you're
have to
jacked
become
and
Julio.
swole and
That's it.
And it's not even
Julio.
jacked and swole. I think it's
It
also
is.
just that confidence.
It's that exactly.
Like I've met people that are probably big, heavier weight or whatever, but I'm just like, damn, this guy just fucking rocks it, right? Like
yeah,
and I think that's part of it, right? But he feels comfortable with who he is. He handles what he needs to handle,
yep.
right? And he just carries it.
but he has something, right? Like there's something about him that he strives for. It doesn't have to be the gym, but like the gym is like not the easiest thing, but it's the most attainable thing for everybody, right?
Correct.
Go to the gym
Even playing field.
and follow this process, and then you'll get an outcome because you've gone through this, right? It could be like, oh, you're a gamer, like go through this process and win tons of tournaments and make a lot of money, or go into real estate, make a lot of money,
Yep.
or it doesn't even have to be money. It's like go through a process and build it.
You could be the top sales guy in whatever company you work for, the top in whatever it is, and that just boosts your confidence. You could be overweight, obese, but you're crushing it, and everyone is like raining. Oh my God, you're so amazing! Oh, you're doing
Correct.
so great.
You see it in rappers, right?
It boosts you up. And when you get up to that stature, like you said, you start carrying yourself differently.
Different,
So
right.
with or without the gym, it's just about how you carry yourself. The gym is probably, like you were saying, one of the easier ways to do it. And also there's the benefits of, you get your endorphins. You feel better on the inside because, when you clean your diet up and you start doing better, you get a lot more mental benefits as well.
Right.
But there's
You
lots of
start
ways to
seeing
obtain
yourself.
that.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, there's that thing. I haven't seen that in a long time. There it is.
It's there, and I think that's the main thing. But I think it's just getting core to that confidence and
Yeah.
building that. Because I tell him, and I'm like, hey, whenever you want me to be home, hey, I'll be home.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna feel like a man. I'm
After
still gonna
the
go
gym?
to the gym. Yeah, I'm still gonna go to the gym. I'm still gonna be like, hey, if you want to ever take over the business and you want me at the house with the baby, I got it. Let
Yeah.
me know. I'm still. I feel like I'm comfortable enough and I can handle my situation enough where I'm like, hey, I'll be a stay at home dad.
Yeah.
And you know what? I did that with Alexis. Alexis was when she was born early, so she had oxygen and she had to have things on her for like the first 6 months of her life. So I stayed home, but I wasn't just home chilling. That's when
Yeah.
I was selling eBay and the P90 thing that I sent.
P90X.
I was buying stuff on
Hustling.
Amazon, selling it, or eBay. It was eBay at the time.
Your hustle
Yeah.
is still
eBay,
strong.
I was still like, it was like I'm home all day with my daughter, but
Yeah.
I'm still doing.
You're still getting after it.
Still getting it, right? Like, or I could have just been home and be like, all right, let me let the government or somebody else pay
Yeah.
my stuff, or but
Yeah, I don't think like you said, what is a man? I don't think it's the amount of money that you make. It's not how you look, right? It's not. It's like it's more about how are you carrying your responsibility? Are you
Yeah.
actually doing something about it, or are you just not doing anything about your responsibility? And your responsibility can be yourself, your family, your kids, your purpose.
Yeah.
You have one. If
Your
you don't.
job, whatever it
you have
is.
to have a purpose.
Huh?
You have to have a purpose.
Right.
He's like,
It's 'cause we talked about a lot of this, and it's like we just come to the position where it's like either you do or you don't, or it's like or like it was just a whole mental breakdown.
It's a
that we
debacle.
had. Yeah.
no.
But yeah, but
that's-
like I agree, like it's not how all those things, right? But all those things help. Like your body helps, being right, having a plan, having money, all that stuff helps. But like you said, if he's gonna stay home, you might not make a lot of money. But like, what's the plan? Okay, I'm gonna make sure this baby has everything, and like you're gonna be like top dad essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
like if that's the plan, then that's the goal.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
gotta be able to find ways around.
and it's like while I'm doing that, right? While I'm carrying the strollers and all that, like my wife's still gonna feel safe. I'm
Yep.
still there. I'm still like the man figure, right? I'm not gonna be
Exactly.
like, okay, hey, can I borrow $20? Like, no,
Yeah.
hey, Give me $20.
Yeah, we need
Yeah,
we need
give
20
it to
bucks
me.
for diapers.
Right.
We need
Yeah.
this,
Right
you
It's
know?
now.
not like, hey, baby, it's like, hey, I'm
Right.
still who I am.
Exactly.
And it's that, I think it's that mentality you
Yeah.
have to have. Now, also real quick, not saying that as a man, you can't be always macho, right? You can
Yeah.
have feelings. You can be, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Can you have feelings as a man, as a macho man?
I feel like you
No.
hurt his feelings when you said that one.
So I think we talked about being reactive to emotion than other than like feeling the emotions, right? Like you're angry, you're upset, yeah.
Okay.
But what are you going to do with those feelings, right? Are you going to go and bust the wall and bust it through the drywall because it's soft and you don't want to hit the door, but you hit the drywall?
Yeah.
Smart.
There's a
Unless
lot
you hit
to
a
it.
stud.
So you're not that, you know.
I think
you're
there's a
not
lot of
that-
psychology
you're
to
not
it, right?
that
Like,
irrational, right? But like,
I don't think we dig into it enough, and people really figure out, right? Because in psychology, they tell you, anger, it's not the
secondary.
root. Yeah, there's a root to it all. There's something like what's causing my anger? What's causing all? Is it fear, loss? What kind of emotion is bringing this? And being able to figure out what that is will help us get to a better place of understanding. And I'm a victim of doing that to myself all the time. Is I get angry and I pop off, and then right after I'm like, oh, that was stupid.
That's why you had all the holes on your wall when I would go over.
You're
You
the
saw
hole
it? That's
puncher.
what it is. Yeah.
He's like, I put the
So,
painting over.
yeah, so we were talking about what do you do with those emotions? You know, as a man, you should be able to feel them, right?
Right.
You should be able to feel sad, angry, upset. But like, what do you do with those? Are you reactive? Like, you know, if something scares you, do you run away? You know, do you cry and run away? You know, or do you, you know, are you taking the information and you say, okay, why am I scared? Why am I frightened? Why is this happening? You know, so that's
It's a
what
mixture of both, because I think it's frowned upon, at least in the past, maybe not so much now, for men to like show emotion, even like crying and stuff like that. Things
Is
get
that like a Latino thing, you think? Or is that just overall?
I think I've heard that across many platforms,
many
different
cultures.
cultures and. Hey, so anyway, no, I've heard that from a lot of different folks and different people, that you hit that point where it's like, hey, you don't cry, you shouldn't cry, and I think that just like anything else, even with a woman, right, when she holds in so much emotion for such a long period of time, which they do often, right, because as men they feel like they can't come to us and tell us things because either we're going to try and fix it, or we're going to blow it off, or we're not going to listen, we're not going to care, we don't understand, so they bundle all that in, and then what happens? They just implode one day. And then
Correct.
it's like, now you're like, what's going on? Why are you crying? And all this other stuff. And it's like, you just don't listen.
And she pulls out a list.
Yeah,
Well, 3 years
This is
back.
what's been going
Yeah.
on. And so,
But I think the difference between that, and I spoke to that with Jimena's aunt the other day or a while back, where it's like almost women have that, like, they come to you, man, Luis has been stressing me, man, this and that, girl, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of almost, they release some of it, right? Compared to men, we don't hang out and be like, oh, man, because they're like, shut up, man, we're here watching the football game.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that shit, And you kind of hold that in. I think men hold it in way more than women, and that's not good either way, whether you're a man
True.
or a woman, right? Because women will talk about it. Man, he just fucking pissed me off.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
told him not to come late, and he came late again,
Yep.
right? But we don't text each other like, hey guys, she stressed me out. She didn't cook. She didn't,
Yeah.
like we like, shut
That's
up,
true.
fool. We talk about
Yeah.
football. This is a memes chat. This isn't.
Yeah. And I think it's tied to like that feeling of like, man, like why are you so emotional? Why are you so whatever? Like you, or maybe you feel like they're gonna like, just handle your situation, right? It's hard to get to that point where, and oftentimes we find advice, and I know from me in the past as well, it's been a lot of drinking. Like if I get stressed out, if there's something going on, I have no problem putting the bottle back, and I'm like, I feel a little bit better. And
For a short period of time.
for a short period of
and then the
time,
next morning it's still there.
it's still there. It doesn't go away, and that's a way for you to suppress it, for you to let it go by, and then it's not solving your problem, it's not solving their problem, and we're all in the same boat. But also, I don't feel like we implode the way they do when we get so stressed out. And so when we finally let it out, it could be let out in a multitude of ways, right?
Yeah.
It could be anger, it
You're
could
gonna
be
break some stuff.
yeah, or you could take a lot of time. You built resentment with it.
Correct.
Instead of it being like, oh, I'm so stressed out, whatever, it comes out. Now we're blame throwing. You this, you did that, you didn't care about whatever, instead of having talked about it at the time and letting those emotions out like slowly. Now it's just, you don't take any accountability for it, and you're just like, it's your fault that I feel
all
this
you.
way.
Right. And they've always put it on somebody else.
Yep.
So I guess I'm a little lost because
Oh, this guy doesn't get angry. He doesn't fight. This guy's a perfect man.
so yeah,
Damn,
so
Julio.
You are Julio.
God dang
So when you say emotional, what does that mean? Because, when I get upset, I say, okay, this is why I'm upset. This, and I talk about it either
To who?
with my
Okay.
wife. Like if I get
Right.
upset, I was like, why? She's like, well, why are you upset? And I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I'm upset.
Okay.
What?
I
is
think
it
that maybe there's variances in being upset, right? Let's say you had $5,000 in your savings, and then you don't pay attention to it, and the next month you look back there and it's negative 200, and you spent the last 6 months putting that in there, and then you look at it and you're like, what in the F? Now, do you go over there and you're like, listen, I'm a little upset. I'm trying to figure out why I'm upset. Or are you like, what the F? Like, where did this go? What's going on?
Right.
And then she tells you, I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? Like,
I've been
how do
buying
you
stuff for
handle
the
that
house.
emotion, right? Like, I think there's variances
Right.
in anger. Maybe your anger just hasn't been so
Yeah, because that would never happen.
that yet, right?
Yeah.
But if it did,
No, like it would never happen there in that relationship. So maybe like if I have like a business partner, right? Or like if I have, but that would
Julio's naive right
I'm
now.
t-
but that would never
Julio's-
happen. That would never happen either because I would
Never
like,
say never.
business partners or like partnerships never work, right? The
I'm
statistics,
not saying
But-
they never work,
but
but
the
you're-
statistics against partnerships are just.
if
are
you look
not
at the
worth
statistics of
risks.
divorce, it's high, my
Right.
brother. It's
Very
high.
high.
Right.
And that's not saying that we don't want them to work. We do, but you never know when something is going to happen or kink is going to get thrown in there. And this is why anger sometimes is a thing, is because you're blindsided by it.
Right.
I mean, it could be a variance of
Yeah,
things,
it
right?
doesn't
Like
have to be money. It could
money
just
was
be-
just that one thing, but it
Right.
could be literally anything.
Right.
Let's
so
say
yeah,
it
so,
sets you
so
off.
then what is anger going to do about the situation?
It's a reaction, though.
Right. So that's the problem.
Let's say you get home
it's
like
being reactive to those emotions,
Yeah.
and there's going to be
The psychology of
a
it, understanding
lot
why.
of people have different tolerance, right? Like,
That's true.
it's like, oh, are you here where somebody left the shoes, now you flip out? Is it here where somebody took $5,000 from your bank account?
Yeah.
Is your wife, or is it up here where like she went off and never told you about anything and she's gone for the whole week?
Yeah.
Damn.
That might be
we're done after
That's a
that.
different
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, it's a-
Yeah.
right. So it's like
That's
where
an easy fix.
So where's
Right,
that
right.
tolerance, right?
Well, I think it could be a tolerance, or it could be, like you said, just your level of understanding of how your mind works, how other people's mind works, allows you to deal with things differently.
Correct.
So whether
What,
it's
maybe it goes even farther back to understanding the goal, going back to the plan and understanding the goal. Like, right, like me, if I get $4,000 right now and go buy a bike, but our goal is to get a house next week or next month,
yeah,
right? That's probably gonna upset her. One, I got the bike.
yep,
Two, I spent $4,000
Yeah.
that we needed, right? So then
Yep.
it's like, why would you do that when we have a plan? That might start an issue, right? But if the original plan is always like, this is the plan,
yeah,
don't spend the money, this is the plan, don't go do your nails every week, this is the plan, I'm not gonna go buy shoes or Lulu.
yeah.
Like once you have that plan, then you shouldn't have that issue, you shouldn't have that anger, because
You shouldn't, but if it happens, we're talking.
It-
We're
it-
reactive. It's how
Yeah,
we're
how
reacting to the
you
problem
react
that's
to the
already
em-
there.
to the emotion, not really the problem, because there's always going to be problems, but like to the emotion of like
I know what you're
Like,
saying now. It makes sense.
I
'cause
think the only time I've been like emotional these past couple of weeks is like with my kids, because they don't listen, and it's like
you've
not
got a long road ahead.
not really like that.
He's
Like
just starting.
like it's
Yeah.
like what, like we're talking about this, we're doing this, and
Yeah.
then you go and do the other thing, and it's like reason doesn't exist there, right? So it's like
Or maybe it's not being able to control the situation. Are you a
Right.
controller?
he
What's
is.
going on
I
here?
think so.
I think
He is,
we're getting down to something here.
yeah.
You got some controlling aspects.
We're
to you.
actually here to talk to you.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
issues.
This is actually an intervention.
Right.
But see, so good thing you brought up the kids, right? So a lot of times people would tell me, and I've talked about this before, like, man, Ray, your kids are so good. Like, they don't
Yeah.
do nothing. Like, yeah. So I set the boundaries. I set the
Yep.
rules. And, of course, Anthony will do something. Alexis will do something, right? But it's like they don't go too far out, right? Or Alexis
Right.
will come to me and she has a face. What'd you do? And I'm like, would you tell me what happened? Oh, it's because you told me I needed to, do my bed every morning, but it's late and we got to go and I didn't do it. Okay. And it's not fear,
Yeah.
right? She's not afraid of me that I'm a beater or something, but it's just like understanding that she knew she didn't do something, right? But it's
Yeah.
like a lot of times, like, man, my kids are bad. Like, well, at the beginning, did you set the plan? Did you
Right.
set the guidelines? Did you set everything? Yes, you're going to, te vas a desviar or whatever, right? The
Right.
kids are going to do something,
Yeah.
but it's like, I think it just all comes to planning everything.
Yeah.
regardless of what it is.
And staying accountable for you, holding them accountable, you doing your part to instead of saying, hey, do your bed every morning. And then if you never check, how can you expect it to get done, right? You checking every day to make sure, and then when it's built up, it's something.
Right.
But I think that everybody, whether you have control or don't have control of things, I think that can set people off.
He has control.
But also like control of your emotions. I think that's what we're talking about. It's like being in control of your emotions, no matter
that could be a good or bad thing, though, because I myself have gotten to a point, like you said, of just being able to understand so much that when something happens, I wouldn't get angry anymore because I can already see three steps ahead.
Right.
Oh, this is why it happened. This. I'll get upset. This is what's going to happen. Let's just jump to here because I'm already here. But the other person maybe wants that passion. They want the anger. They want the fight. They want you to feel something, because if not, now you're just numb all the time. You don't have any emotion. You don't feel anything. When really it's you being so hyper rational that you don't display it.
Yeah, but reacting in anger doesn't mean you never react to happiness or joy. There's not one or the other. Like that's like a black and white fallacy. Like you can't, like just because you
I guess
you're
you can become
angry,
numb to anger and not wanting to get angry. You start shutting yourself off. You shut down. And when you do that enough, I think you shut yourself down to everything.
Maybe, but I think that would be very, case by case scenario. That'd be, just because you're never angry doesn't mean you're never happy. Like that's a black and white fallacy.
And just because you're always happy doesn't mean you never get angry.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there are some people like that too.
And I'm always angry.
Some people that are just always happy. You're like, you never get mad.
Right.
And it's like, you might be right because you just always see the positivity. You're always optimistic. And that, like I said, some people are like, they want the anger. I want you to get mad. I want you to display that.
Some people
like
give me that raw masculinity.
There's a root, like we said earlier. There's
a root
to that, and it's figuring that out. Like to me, I'm at the point with certain things. I'm just like, there's no need for me to get mad about that.
Yeah.
Like I already saw it come in. Like issues with employees. Like this happened. Like what, I saw this coming. Like you said, so I'm already here, right? And just staying positive all the time.
And not letting it affect you.
Correct. It's like I don't gain nothing by getting mad and reacting in a bad way, right? So let me just avoid it and let me go this way.
There was I don't know if it was a monk or somebody a while back that was speaking on that, and it was about anger specifically, right? And he was saying, why would you display anger off somebody else's, behavior? Something that somebody else did is causing you anger, which is an emotion you're displaying yourself that's making you feel a way. Why would you allow yourself to feel that off somebody else's behavior? And I think that's important too to note, right? That is that everyone grows up in a different way, whether it's your friend, your spouse, your partner. They could grow up in a household in a place where anger is displayed all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so they see that, they feel that.
That's their normal.
That's their normal. And so to have somebody that doesn't do that is off to them. They're like,
trips them out.
And it makes them feel like, you must not care. Like, this is how I grew up. This is what I know.
Right.
This is how it's shown. So for you to be happy all the time, you're like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Psychology is weird like that,
Is
right?
that
How
like
different people
where daddy
react.
issues, the term daddy issues come in?
For sure.
I mean, daddy issues are rooted into a lot of different.
Yeah.
There's.
I have daddy issues.
Everybody. I mean, everybody.
If you never
does.
had a daddy, do you still have daddy issues? Is that a daddy issue?
Oh yeah.
That was a little dark,
Damn,
but
I don't have a daddy,
Dang.
so I don't have daddy issues.
Do you call it lack of daddy issues?
No. Let's just say I don't have any issues.
I get what you're saying, but I think there's a difference between being like the term toxic masculinity, like where you're angry and you're
Hashtag Liver
upset,
King.
and you insult and you yell. There's a difference between that and being powerful.
There's a female version of that.
Yeah, and being
Definitely.
powerful and being
Latinas.
grounded.
You nailed it.
And being direct and being bold and being, loud enough where people can hear you.
Yep.
There's a difference between that and toxic masculinity. Like, I think you can still be angry, but still being being direct and upfront and being.
Which goes back to accountability and taking responsibility as opposed to blame shifting, gaslighting, narcissistic tendencies, right? That come with toxic masculinity is I'm right, you're wrong, I'm always right, you're never going to be right. And when you hold that mentality to yourself, and again, sometimes like wanting to be ultra masculine about it.
Compensating.
Yep. That's a good word too. Man.
This guy.
Julio's on fire today.
Julio's on fire. That's your new name.
That,
This is the Julio and Ray show.
yeah, the Julio and Ray show.
This guy.
That ends up being something that happens, and you're right. And like we were saying, there's a female version of that too. There's a
Correct.
female version that just, beats down and abuses all the time. And it could be for a multitude of reasons, but then it's like you take that so much, it's like, what do you do? And then here's the other problem we were talking about, right? Then guys don't have that outlet to have a friend, to have somebody like, bro, this sucks. I'm
Yeah.
hurting,
Right.
you know? And then they just slip into that depression, and it's like, what do you
Correct.
do? When you feel alone in that, that has to be the worst thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I think a group of men, like a men's group, is really important. It doesn't have to be super official, but it could be somewhere where you go and you say your problems, and then you're constructively criticized about those problems.
Yeah.
Say, look, you're doing this because
Constructively criticized is the important thing to take away from that.
you're doing this
Not
because you're
man-shaming.
not doing this. Like, think
Well,
about that.
Not even man shaming, but the opposite, right? You're like, man, my girl, blah, blah, blah.
Are you still ill?
And then, well, your
Say it.
friend is like, oh man, like that sucks, bro, or you shouldn't take that, blah blah blah. Almost, hearing your problem, and then the solution is make them go away.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be treating you like that, blah blah. This shouldn't be happening. Rather than the root. That's
What's
the word of
happening?
today.
Well, what'd you
What's
do?
causing this? Because
What have
it's
you-
easy to blame somebody
Right.
else.
Right.
What am I doing myself that's causing her to do this? Now, if you make changes and it still happens, even after you assert your dominance, now it's not your problem any longer.
There's
Correct.
a meme where it's like, my husband's, he's good, he's handsome, he's tall, he's this, he has money, he
Damn,
has this,
what's his phone number?
he has this, and it's like, but I'm always angry.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe your husband's not the problem. Maybe,
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
you're the
you're
problem.
watching too much Vampire Diaries. That's the problem.
True. Yeah, that's a good
Huh?
show, actually.
I mean,
crime scene.
What's the
I'm upset to agree with you, but you're
Yeah,
right.
It's a good show. You
a
should
lot of
watch it.
crime shows and
Crime
horror
shows.
shows.
And
Yeah.
again, it goes back to the comparison.
Exactly.
Like, well, Julio over here never fights with his wife, and me and you are always
Yep.
fighting. Like,
They look so happy all the time.
right? Like, what do we have to do to be
Why
like
are you
Julio?
always fighting though?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's about to come here.
Yeah, I
Shut
know.
up. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and people try to overcompensate as well by other things. Well, I'm buying things to keep you happy, or we're getting other things in the house to try to make things happier, to make things better. We're never really solving the problem.
You're just covering it
We're
up.
covering
You're just
it.
kind of just
Band-aiding it.
band-aiding it up.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest things that we do as guys, and well, not we, y'all or them do as guys,
Us.
is just trying to cover up what you've done,
Yeah.
right? Instead of figuring out all right, how can we fix this so it doesn't happen again,
Yeah.
right? Instead of just here's some flowers, here's some money, here's go buy it, go get your nails done. Now she's not mad at me no more. Yes, now we can move forward. You do that 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then in the month she blows up
Yeah.
because both of y'all blow up.
No follow through.
Well, Julio doesn't blow
I
up,
feel
but
that.
normal
I feel
people
that.
blow up, and then it's an issue.
I do that all the time as well sometimes, because as men, sometimes we want to fix a problem. We want to solve a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Solve a solution? That sounded weird. Come up with a solution. And so we're quick to, man, let me just mend this. Let's get to the problem of this, or maybe there's this. And then now I've still got X, Y, and Z, all these other things I have to get done. You move on with life, but you never really circle back around to the problem.
Get to the root.
And then when it comes out, it's like it's a bigger problem because you didn't give it all the attention that it desired.
Correct.
And that's
one of my biggest things,
it's
even
tough.
with everybody, kids and everybody, and even the employees the other day, is just all right, I get what you're feeling or what you're going through, but what is it? I like to go direct. I don't like to sit there and chit chat.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because this and that, or the employee. Okay, well, what?
You're
what is
already
the issue?
here.
Right?
I'm already here.
What's the issue? Let's fix it. If I just give you a raise, that's not gonna help nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You're having money issues. Okay. Well, what is it? Oh, this. Okay. So do this.
Let's look
do
at your
this.
finances. Let's get
Correct.
you there.
Let's that was the issue. Remember I told you I was having an issue with the employee last time. And then it's just it's easy to just cover it up. Here's $1 raise.
Yeah.
All right, now you're happy for how long?
Yep.
Until you're mad again.
You
Same
get a
thing,
little stimulus check.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
something in
stimmy.
it's the same thing. Same thing with kids, right? Oh, you're having issues. Sure, I'll buy you the toy. Shut up. Go
Yeah.
over there. Marriage. Oh, what?
Yep.
We're having issues. Let's go to a weekend getaway real quick.
Yeah.
Cover it up. But it's figure out what it is and then fix it. And if we can't fix it, and if you go around and you can't fix it, all right, we can't fix it.
Yeah.
You gotta separate or whatever.
But if you never took the time to get there, you'd never find out.
Correct.
So it takes that time. It takes putting in that effort.
Communication, I think, is key.
It's a big one.
Has to be.
It's a big
I
one.
think to nothing else fixes anything than just talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. So one of my big things that I've always had well, not always, but as I got older, is like if we're mad or upset or whatever or angry or business, like let's figure it out that night or that day, and then the next day we can get past it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, store's stressing me out, this and that. All right, what's stressing you out? Let's fix it real quick. Let's try to get some solutions, and let's go, right? Instead of letting that like stress with the stores or with business or
Stress
with
is
the
a killer. I think
or
that
with the parents, sometimes even the in-laws, they're having issues. Maybe the in-laws are having money issues,
That's
or
another issue.
certain things are happening.
that's
Like,
a
okay,
whole nother thing.
and it's another thing. Like, oh, let's just give them money. Like, no,
Yeah.
like let's figure something out, right? Or like, what can we do?
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about just life in general. Every dynamic, every little situation is different,
Yeah.
and either you run from it, or like you say, okay, this is an opportunity to learn and to come up with a strategy that we can either work ourselves and then we can help others. Like Ray, a lot of people come for advice to Ray because he's been through a lot.
Yep.
So he's used all those negative experiences to a positive
Outcome.
outcome for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and I think you don't learn from your success, you learn from your failures.
Definitely.
It's
Right.
true. And it's good, again, to have those outlets, to have somebody to go to. Because unfortunately now, things like TikTok is people's avenue.
Correct.
You can go through people's feed, and it's like a counseling session for hours. Oh, your man's doing this. Your woman's doing that. Oh, this is the solution. Oh, this behavior. Oh, this, that,
Right.
the other. And you're consumed by it so much that, it's you don't even know how to react. There's always a reason for something, right?
Correct. But you got to be able to take what you're told, too, right?
It's the second half of it.
So a lot of times people don't like I've lost plenty of friends that I'm blunt with them.
Yeah.
This is the issue. This is where you went wrong
Yep.
or whatever. No, fuck you, Ray. Like
Yeah.
you don't understand me. Like you're not cool. You don't like.
Yeah,
all right,
you don't
bro.
get it, Ray.
You
Yeah.
don't get it. Like, and then I'm
Yeah.
the bad guy, which I'm okay being the bad
Yeah.
guy, right? But that's happened plenty of times. Like, look, you're messing up here. You're asking me for questions, this and that, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah.
And that's, when you have those guy groups like we were talking about, that's where that comes in when we were saying constructive criticism. If you have those people that are just fluffing you up and you're not wrong, or, I'm in the same position, it's all their fault, or it's all this and that. When you don't have somebody that's able to just look you in your face and tell you something bluntly because they care,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not benefiting at all. And there's not enough people that are doing that.
Correct.
And that's with anything.
We're gonna start a man group today, right now, right here.
Call it the Julios.
The Julio.
Julios.
Tell us, Julio, what's your issues? Oh wait, never mind. You don't have issues.
Dang.
We'll talk about our
I
issues.
have
Yeah.
issues.
We'll cry about it later. Julio
I
doesn't
need
cry.
constructive criticism.
But I think in general, there's a lot of things we can really dig into
Yeah.
when it comes to man stuff.
I agree. I would encourage anybody
Man
watching
stuff.
to
Man
drop
stuff.
drop in Ray's inbox with any problems you guys are having.
Hey,
any-
but I'm gonna be blunt,
We're
so y'all
gonna
better
have
take it.
callers.
A
We
lot of
should have
times,
callers.
yeah, there's a caller on the line.
Caller on the line.
Honestly,
you know,
though, there's
tell us
people
what
that are
you're-
going through things.
let's do it.
If you're going through some stuff, you should jump in his inbox. Let it be a topic of
Correct.
point that people can talk about.
And we talked about this before, like maybe setting up a show, right, where it's separate from business.
Yep.
Right, because we all love business.
I think it all goes in together. Like how can you not tie your manhood or your identity from your business? Like how do you detach it? Right, your leadership, from your leadership, your goals in business. They're not too far off from your goals and your leadership at home. Or are
Maybe.
they?
Maybe.
I still think they're different entities.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
because
different
it's
entities,
definitely
but, like,
different.
Can you be
Like my business,
a
I can.
terrible business person and a great father? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
But can you
Because
are you
I think
striving
that
to be
business is a lot, right? Business could be a 9 to 5 working at McDonald's, or it could be being an entrepreneur. It could be, just going to school. Like your business and what you're doing could be a multitude of things, whereas your family is the stagnant. This is the way it is. It's not. It evolves as the years go on, but the foundation is still there. But in business, you're trying to grow. You're trying to do all these things. There's pitfalls. Your boss, who is not your spouse, right?
Yeah.
It can act a certain way, and you have to be able to learn how to deal with that. It's not like
Yep.
you can go to your boss and be like, "Listen here, display your masculinity." Like that's how you get fired, and then now you're having problems at home. So there's a give and take with different things.
I think it's close.
Yeah.
But here in my business, if I
Similar
want to
but
buy a
different.
motorcycle, I mean a laptop.
Similar
buy
but
it.
different.
In your business.
Yeah, if I want to buy a motorcycle, I mean a laptop in my business.
You
Yeah.
I'll just buy it.
need a delivery motorcycle. You know?
I would say that more men have problems in their personal life than they do in their business life, though.
Correct.
And that they're, whether it be displaying emotion, family life, friendship, things they've gone through in life, their inability to be able to talk about these things because it's frowned upon. I think that's a bigger predicament than people in business, right? Because you can find a mentor, somebody that can help you grow in life
Correct.
and
Or
business
you can
and
switch
work.
jobs.
But you could switch jobs.
Oh yeah. Or if it's your 9 to 5, you only deal with it 9 to 5, and then after
Correct.
5 you're done. Compared to at home, you
Yeah.
can't
It's
just be
24.
like, you can't just be like, all right.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
clocking
there's
out.
different dynamics for sure.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I think it's what I'm trying to say is you are still the same person. Like, are you switching? I know you're switching.
You should be the
roles.
same person.
Yeah, I know you're switching roles.
You have to switch roles.
I think people put on a mask at work often,
Yeah.
especially for a 9 to 5. You're putting on this. I get to work. This is me now.
Yeah.
I'm in work mode. This is what I do. But at home, you should be able to, right? If you've got a good balance, take that mask off and be who you are. But
Yeah. Let's think
You
of
know?
like I think of people like Kevin Hart. Like he's the same everywhere, right? You think about The Rock. People that you're like, oh, you would see him at home. Oh yeah, he's not much different than like he is who he is, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like
it's still their
Like
own
I-
bosses. I think it's
like,
still a little different.
I feel like I'm the same person.
We agree to disagree.
Like I feel like I'm the same person on my 9 to 5, at home. Not the same
Emotionless.
not the same dynamic, but like I don't feel like I'm putting on a different
Mask.
mask.
Well,
No,
and
I
that's
get
why I told him as we've done this podcast and I've seen how he is. What's the comment I said about your home and your kids?
I don't know.
Well, I told him, I was like, man, your kids have a strict father, like the way you are here. And he's like, what's wrong with that? I was like, yeah. So he is.
But I think not everyone's on your level with that.
Julio, you're just
Because there's
I
people
just
that
don't wanna-
do-
I don't want to compare. Like
no.
No,
But
but you're
I
right. Like,
know-
there's not everybody can do that. Can be the same person here as they are there. People feel like they have to be a certain way in certain places,
see,
which is part of the problem.
I've been told not to be the same person, right? So I've been told by people with degrees that
Damn.
I need to be able to turn
Official.
off my business mentality because it's always on,
Yeah.
right? So I've been told like when you get home or at certain times you need to shut that off, and I'm like, well, I don't know how to shut. What do you mean shut it off? I don't even know that it's
Right.
going on, right? So it's kind of like, like for instance, we went to that downtown hotel with the Texas pool thing, and I'm like, man, this is a good idea. Hey, by the way,
Yeah,
look
right.
this and that. She's like, huh? And I was like, oh yeah, we're on vacation. Sorry,
Yeah.
or whatever we're taking. But it's hard for me to turn that off, and I've been told like I got to be able to separate business and husband and father and friend.
Well, there's
But-
a reason that terminology can, you have to be able to separate business from friendship when you go into business with friends is for that reason alone, is that when you have a friend, there's that relationship, that way you are with them, and then the way that you are with business. You have to be able to separate them. And I think the reason why is because people are emotionally tied to certain people and
Correct.
certain things. And in business, you have to take emotion out of it.
right. Yeah.
To that, you say what?
Yeah, no.
To that I don't know. I think I disagree.
Chingo.
Like
Bathroom break time. Going on break.
yeah. Break.
I mean, are you always? Do you? I mean, well, yeah, you are. I was gonna say, are you always like the graphic designer, perfect everything? And you are. I mean, you come in here and you start wiping things down, but I don't know.
No, everyone's different. And
Everyone is
different. Have
different.
different
Oh,
levels,
yeah,
Everyone is
levels
different.
to
Like,
how they
you
handle
can't-
things.
Like an actor's not gonna be an actor though. He's
How
gonna
do
get
you know?
home. Yeah, you're right.
Method actors.
right.
How
That's
do
a
you
thing.
know?
You're right.
It's-
He might come home and start preparing his lines and pretending with his wife to be a serial
Yeah.
killer. Like I know,
Ooh, it's got dark again.
like Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio, they had like a reel, and he's like, "You're not Leonardo DiCaprio. You're a slave owner. You have to like act like a slave owner." And then the next day he walked in. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Leo?" And he just walked by him. And he's like, he was in character like that because he needed to be in character. So it's like, it's all depending on who you're talking to.
I don't know.
Can you imagine that? You need to wash these dishes.
Peasant.
Beyond this.
Yeah, there's
Beyond
actors
Yeah.
that play that role for months.
Method actor. I
Well,
think is
isn't
they
that
call
what
it.
Yeah.
happened to the Batman, the Joker guy? Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
dug
Keith-
deep into the
Yeah.
into the
Keith
Joker.
Ledger? Keith Ledger.
He had issues after that. I don't know. I
yeah,
just can't
he
remember.
has psychological, and he committed suicide.
Yeah, but he
Yes.
was so deep into that character.
That's kind of what's scary about the Jeffrey Dahmer thing was that when
I
he,
haven't seen that.
What?
uh,
Julio
It's
you
a
just
lot.
went down.
but you know, when you watch him play that role and you've seen him play in other roles, like you have to imagine that psychologically, to be in that space throughout that duration of time had to done something to him mentally.
Correct.
Being there and outside of the fact that the world kind of sees you like that, even though it's not you, like
Correct.
they see you like that a little bit. That's tough. It's a tough pill to
Yeah, because
swallow.
I suck. That's why I don't want. I suck at movies, because if I see somebody funny and he tries to be serious, like, bro, I still see you as
Yeah.
Adam Sandler or what. Adam Sandler does the same roles all the time, but certain things like I can't disregard people. Like, man, I saw you fucking at The Notebook. You're a soft dude. Shut up.
Yeah.
You can't be tough. Hey, The Notebook's the best movie out there, by the way. If anybody hasn't seen it, you gotta watch it. Sponsored, hopefully. I get to meet the cast.
Sponsored.
I want to meet Ryan Gosling.
Ooh.
So dreamy.
Mm.
But that's another topic.
That's
for
a
another day.
Julio.
That's a Julio.
Ooh.
All the way.
All the way. He beats you, for sure.
That's okay. I'm comparing myself.
All right,
to
guys.
Ryan Gosling. Can you
Any other?
imagine?
What else are you up to? What's coming?
That's all I've got for right now, guys. That's it. I'm sure there's more stuff to come, but right now I'm just putting my focus on building that team, watching that grow, seeing where it can go next, and just making sure that I get enough time for that.
So you are looking for more people.
I'm not actively
Active,
searching,
but
but
if they
if it comes, I'm not opposed to it.
Nice,
I'm not opposed to it.
nice. All right. Well, this was a good topics. I think The Notebook. Get out of here, boy. Man, they're hating on The Notebook. These clowns.
That's why I can't tell the guys nothing.
They
It's
don't
the
know.
problem.
Yeah. See, now they're gonna start calling me a P and this and that. Hey, I like The Notebook. I like to get flowers. I like foot massages.
What do you want?
I like manicures. Like-
What do you want?
Tell me what you want. Yes, he savage.
Yeah,
He
it's only
savage.
me, my
He
face.
knows.
You don't know.
Sorry, guys.
You haven't watched The Notebook, for
I
real?
have.
Did
I
you
have.
cry?
I did not.
Be honest, right here, right now.
I did not.
At all.
At all.
P.S. I love you.
Nothing. Maybe Bambi. Bambi was close.
See, I'm being serious. You're playing.
That's why
Did
I can't
you
tell
cry?
you guys nothing.
I haven't seen it.
What
The
about
Fox and
P.S.
the
I love
Hound?
you?
Is that the one where that
Where
guy
he dies
died?
and he leaves all those letters for her? And he, like, plans out, like,
This guy.
If you didn't watch The Fox and the Hound and cry, we cannot be friends.
Fox and the Hound, yeah. They
good
the
one.
best. Pedicures are the best. Well, anyways, I cry. I don't give a... Anyways, thanks for stopping by, man. I really
Thank you,
appreciate you.
guys.
Thanks for all the info. We definitely have to redo this again and continue
like
to
it.
collect
We'll start taking calls from men out
from
there.
hurt men.
Yeah.
And you can
Calls,
you can call
messages.
private.
Yeah, you can call and we can change your voice.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's getting good.
It is getting good.
My girl beats me.
My wife's beating me every day.
She's beating me right now.
Hey, you better not watch that podcast.
True. But all right, man. Thanks, guys. Everybody that tuned in. We ask that you share, please tag. Send this to a friend that you think might like it. Someone that's getting beat. Someone that's too masculine. Send it to a few Latinas out there so they can calm down a little bit. Anything else?
Hot Cheetos fixes everything.
No,
True.
That's it.
All right,
Thank you for
guys.
watching.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Peace.